Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you in once again to another episode of The Simple Truth. This is the Simple Truth Update. Ladies and gentlemen, many people, since the advent of the newest and newer technologies, have often wondered, are we being watched? Is Big Brother watching? If you're familiar with the book, and I'm old school, 1984, George Orwell, where he talked about a world where Big Brother would constantly be watching. Well, in that vein, we have a story that came across, it came from RT.com, and it's one that poses a question for many people who are utilizing the technology of Skype to communicate with family, friends, a lot of times utilizing it for business purposes. But the article is entitled, "Is Microsoft Eavesdropping Through Skype for the Feds?" Well, let's read the article. Are your Skype calls safe from the eyes and ears of snooping feds? Microsoft has filed a patent to allow eavesdropping over Skype and other VoIP, voice over IP platforms. But the Silicon Valley giants won't say whether or not they are already implementing this new technology. Microsoft acquired the popular voice over IP program Skype in May 2011 for an astounding $8.5 billion. But the news between the world's most popular VoIP service and the legendary Silicon Valley entity doesn't end just there. Barely a year later, Microsoft was awarded a patent last month that allows them to roll out undetectable eavesdropping tools to target the communications of its customers without them ever knowing. According to the paperwork, Microsoft has filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office the ability to silently record communications between Skype users is necessary in instances where law enforcement agencies and national governments may demand to listen in on or even watch conversations in real time that are otherwise believed to be between just two parties. Their patent for legal intercept technology was approved last month, essentially awarding Microsoft the ability to silently copy communication transmitted via the communication session without asking for the user's authorization. Does that mean that Bill Gates' brainchild and the feds are already using it to work hand in hand, though? Microsoft has been asked repeatedly to acknowledge whether or not it's the actual case. But so far, they have yet to offer either an explanation or an answer. Not surprising. When called on to provide reasoning for the rumored restructuring of their VoIP interface, Skype corporate VP of Production, Engineering, and Operations, Mike Gillett, told ExaminTech.com that adjustments with how data was transmitted through so-called super modes were only an added step to improve the Skype user experience, and shrugged off allegations that it was being done to facilitate law enforcement requests, despite their wiretap patent being approved weeks earlier. As news of their legal intercept technology makes its rounds around the web, critics are not ceasing their questions for Microsoft. Last week, a reporter for Slate wrote that he took up the question again, over and over, with Skype, only to be ignored by the company altogether. Skype rejected the charge in a comment issued to the website ExtraMedTech, saying the restructure was an upgrade and had nothing to do with surveillance, writes Ryan Gallagher for Slate. But when I repeatedly questioned the company on Wednesday whether it would currently facilitate wiretap requests, a clear answer was not forthcoming. Citing company policy, Skype PR man Chaim Haas couldn't confirm or deny, telling me only that the chat service cooperates with law enforcement agencies as much as is legally and technically possible. Until Microsoft and Skype are upfront about what they are doing with their latest technology, it is up to the user to make an educated guess every time they log on and make a call. Even if Skype isn't implementing their legal intercept patent yet, that doesn't necessarily mean that their users are safe from the government's goons either. If the federal government successfully argues with Microsoft the same way they've done with traditional telecom companies as of late, they very well could do as they like with the thought-to-be private conversations. On top of the recent revelation that the National Security Agency asked for phone records for 1.3 million Americans only last year, the NSA has refused to discuss with even Congress how many Americans it has spied on through provisions made in 2008 to the Foreign Intelligence Service Act, FISA, a legislation that allows government to dig through correspondence that they believe is being sent overseas. Just last week, the Wall Street Journal also broke the story that the FBI has sued an anonymous telecommunications company that challenged its demands to hand over private user data without a warrant. And to say that Skype isn't already being infiltrated by the government raises additional points on its own. Earlier this year, the FBI alleged that they came into possession with Skype instant messaging logs between megaloadup.com founder Kim.com and his top associates at the storage site. The Bureau said that they had records going back as far as 5 years, but the FBI spearheaded investigation began only months earlier. According to Skype's terms of service, data is only held on their servers for 30 days, suggesting that the FBI may have circumvented Skype's official user policies so that they could play by their own rules. Now with their latest patent, the 663 million registered users of Skype might have their VoIP calls monitored. At least now, they'll at least be aware of it. Kind of. The simple truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, as long as we are using the technology that is available to us, this is a possibility. But is that going to stop us from speaking truth? Is that going to stop us from communicating with our family members? Is that going to stop us from continuing to handle whatever business that we utilize these technologies for? By and large, the answer to that question is probably no. At least now, ladies and gentlemen, you have the ability to be aware of what's going on, and according to your awareness, as a result of your awareness, you can do or not do what you choose. This has been the simple truth, and as I always tell you, the simple things are oftentimes the most profound, but yet they are the most difficult to put into practice and to actually do. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will be back with you real soon.